Hey lovies, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another makeup look. So on today's client is going to be a bronzy brown eyeshadow palette. So I'm starting off with the eyebrows. I always start with the eyebrows with my clients and I start with concealing the eyebrow bone. So I'm going to take a shade that's like a 2. I'm not going to push it and say 3, but 1 to 2 shades lighter than her skin tone, and make sure that I fill and completely color the lids. Now I'm taking this packing brush with no product. I'm just making sure that I'm blending the concealer as much as possible because I don't want any of her oils from her eyelids to move any products that I put. Then I go in and I set it with a translucent powder to really set in the eyelids. I'm going to take this Anastasia palette and I'm going to take a brown shade and just put it all over the lids. But I am using a transition shade, so a light brown, and then I'll go in with a darker brown, because if you go in with a dark brown without having a translucent color, it just looks so, it will look like you have a black eye, and honestly, that is not a sexy look. I do not care what people say. So I go back and forth with different brushes because it's all about, like I said, I say in all my videos, intention with the placement and everything. You see here, I'm going in with the darker brown and I placed it on the outers of her eyelids. And then I'm using a bigger blending brush to really smooth everything out. Make sure that you use your brushes accordingly. You can use them for multi-use and stuff like that. But for the eyelids, I think that you should use it for what they are. So yeah, here I am packing on the darkest shade of brown, but I'm using a light hand because I don't want to go in with just dark brown. Again, it's more easy to add a little bit at a time versus adding a big amount and then having a hard time or having to remove everything and start from scratch completely. So here I am using both brushes, one that's a smaller one and one is the bigger, fluffier one, to really pack in the shade. And I'm using the bigger blending one to blend into the eyelids nice and soft. Now I'm going to use the Anastasia's brush that comes in all their palettes. And now I'm being more intentional of how I want to pack in the darker brown. So I'm going to take the darker brown, place it on the outers, but being more intentional and pack it on more, just a little bit more. Then I'm going to take the fluffier brush, the bigger one that I've been using, to now really smoke it in. I did not want to do too much because my client has a beautiful face and I want to keep it as natural as possible. So now that I like how the brown is looking like, we decided to add gold in the middle. So it's not just a flat tone. My client really wanted gold in the middle. So the client asked and I shall deliver. So I'm really packing it on. It's St. Anastasia palette. So yes, I did not add concealer in the middle because I did not want to disturb the placements of the browns that I already had put. So I just use a packing brush to pack in the glitter / shimmer gold eyeshadow. So now I'm going to go in with the Mario F4 brush. And this is actually her foundation and it matches to the T. Love that. And now I'm going to go with the black opal and chestnut to bronze her up. She has such a beautiful skin tone that it's easy to just chisel out and carve it out. And now I'm going to do her nose. And I'm taking a smaller brush to really get into her nose crevices. I don't want to do too much. Again, she's a very natural type of girly, but I want to accentuate every of her features. So here I'm just using the same black opal chestnut color, and I'm really taking my time to blend out the nose contour. And yeah. So now I'm going in with this e.l.f. Pink blush, and it's very hot pinkish vibe, but once it's really stapled into the skin and really placed nicely, it becomes softer. And obviously, once you start adding powders and everything else, it just mellows it out. And I really like to take my time when it comes to placing each of every product, especially cream, because cream tends to move around a lot. So if you're going to place a cream, make sure you want to place it exactly where you want it to be so that it can stay there, and then you move to the next cream, your concealers, your cream contour, etc. You just want to make sure that you're intentional with your placements and taking your time with each of the steps so that everything mellows together and everything blends together seamlessly. The last thing you want is for you to have a harsh line between your cream contour, cream blush, and then your concealer. That does not look right. So here I am using the Too Faced concealers. I combined both of them. I believe it's sand and something else to really give her that bright look. And again, I'm taking my time placing the concealer because I know exactly where I want it to be and where I want it to be focused on, and is the center of her head, of her face, sorry. So now I'm taking my time and doing all of that. My client and I, that's actually my best friend. So yeah, thank you, Bestie, for letting me do your makeup. So now I'm using this Japanese buffer brush. It's more dense, and I'm really using that to blend out her concealer and just really taking my time and being intentional where I want the placements to be, because I don't want to move the concealer here, there. It just doesn't look right and it doesn't look well. So I'm making sure that I blend from the outside then in, simply because it gives you that more seamless blend versus you going straight from the inside out. So yes. So now that I put down all my creams and made sure that everything was blended out seamlessly, I'm going to go in with powders. This is the One Size in translucent to really set her under eyes. I don't like to go baking on her skin because she's more on the drier side, but combination as well. So I just didn't go heavy with the baking. So I am here making sure that my cream contour and my cream blush are set. And now I'm going to go in with this ColourPop and BFF3 in this darker brown shade. I don't know, something about brown lips for any look, to be honest, to me looks so good. So here I'm making sure that her lips are lined nicely and not over the top dramatic. Again, it's up to your client if they want that type of vibe. My clients, they usually like to stick to their natural outlines of their lips. So I'm showing you guys how I'm really taking my time because I feel like the lips really puts the makeup all together, the look, all of that. So I'm really shading it in here with the same lip pencil, and I'm leaving the middle of her lips without nothing. And this is my favorite part, the Morphe Drip Glass in Nude Gleam. Oh my gosh, do you guys see that? Like, Morphe really ate when they decided to do this product. Like, I need 14 of those. So I'm gonna need Morphe to really come up and do its job and send me some products. Um, So yeah, I did not go with any lipstick in the center because the Morphe Drip Gloss is so, it has a lot of color in it. So just with the gloss and all of that, I was like, you know what? We're going to stay just like that. Then I'm going to go in with a powder melt. So with one side, so everything melts into the skin. And then I added just a little bit more as she requested. And then I went in with the one size setting spray. That's really a hairspray. I almost killed my client that day. And this is the final look, guys. Very subtle, very cute. Ugh, I love it. If you guys want to book me, you guys can go to Acuity Scheduling at Aries Studios, and I'll link it down below. Bye.